Esteban and the Ghost, adapted by Sybil Hancock, pictures by Dirk Zimmer. Long ago, late in October, a merry tinker named Esteban came to a village near Toledo. It was All Hallows Eve, and he had heard a tale that excited him to no end. Nestled in the golden hills of Spain stood a dark dwelling called Grey Castle, and it was said to be haunted. As Esteban sat about, mending pots and pans for the village housewives, he asked if the ghost story was true. Yes, indeed, one wife said. You can hear the moaning and weeping in the castle every night. And on All Hallows Eve a ghostly light flickers in the chimney, added another. The owner of the castle has offered 1,000 gold relays to anyone who can drive the ghost away. Brave men have tried, but each has been found dead sitting before the fireplace in the morning. Esteban chuckled, for he was delighted by the task. Dear ladies, I, Esteban, am afraid of nothing. I should like to sleep tonight in this castle. Perhaps I can keep the poor ghost company, and it will not weep so loudly. The women were amazed as Esteban bid them good day. He rode his donkey to the marketplace and bought a slab of bacon, a dozen eggs, a good frying pan, a jug of tart apple cider, and some firewood. With his donkey laden with supplies, Esteban set out for the castle. The night was windy and cold when Esteban reached the castle courtyard. Leaving his donkey to graze by a pool overgrown with weeds, he carried his firewood and food into the great hall. It's so dark in here I cannot see my hand before me, Esteban said, and the sound of his voice sent bats flapping from the rafters. That is much better, he said, starting a fire in the huge fireplace. Nothing like a bright fire to drive away fear. Esteban sliced some bacon, placed it in the skillet, and set it over the flames. How it sizzled in the pan! Just as he was about to take a sip of cider, a sad voice wailed down the chimney. "Oh, me!" it cried. "Oh, my! Oh, me!" "That's not a very happy greeting, good fellow," Esteban said as he turned his bacon over. "But then I am the one who is hearing the donkey braying, and perhaps your voice is not so bad after all." "Oh, me!" cried the voice. "Oh, my! Oh, me!" The thin moaning echoed through the great hall. Esteban lifted the crisp bacon from the sizzling grease and laid it on some paper to drain. Then he broke an egg into the skillet. He carefully jiggled the pan so that the egg would be soft in the middle, for that was how he liked his eggs. "Look out below!" the voice cried out again, sounding shaky and frightened. "I'm falling!" "Very well," Esteban said calmly, "but see that you don't land in my frying pan." There was a loud bump, and on the fireplace hearth lay a man's leg, and a fine leg it was, too, clothed in a half pair of blue woolen trousers and a shiny black boot. Esteban ate his bacon and egg and drank some of his apple cider. Outside the castle, the rain pounded the aged gray stones, and the wind howled about the corners of the towers. Suddenly the voice wailed once more, "Look out below! I'm falling!" There was another thump, and a second leg lay on the hearth. It looked just like the first leg. Esteban stared thoughtfully at the second leg for a moment, then pulled it farther away from the fireplace. He stacked on more wood and broke another egg into the frying pan. "Look out below!" yelled the voice, sounding no longer weak, but quite loud. "I'm falling!" "Go right ahead," Esteban said happily. "Just don't land in my egg." With a very loud bump, the trunk of a man's body lay on the hearth, and it was wearing a fine blue woolen coat with a red checked shirt. Esteban thought the ghost was quite well dressed and proceeded to cook his third egg and some more bacon. He was just finishing the last of the bacon when the voice cried out once again. First one arm fell down the chimney and then another. "Well now," Esteban murmured softly, "all that is left is the head. I'd like to see what the fellow looks like." Esteban did not have long to wait. "Look out below!" the voice boomed. "I'm falling!" And a handsome head with dark curly hair and a beard rolled onto the hearth. Esteban watched as the parts of the body joined together. Brave though he was, he gave a startled gasp when a tall, husky man stood up, looking not at all like a ghost. Welcome, Esteban said after he had gathered his wits. Would you care for food? It is not food I want, the ghost replied. Out of all those who have come to the castle, you are the only man brave enough to stay until I can put myself back together again. The others died of pure terror before I was even halfway finished. Indeed, Esteban sighed, stirring the flames higher in the fireplace. That is because I brought good food and warmth to keep me company, and I had no cause to fear you. Please, begged the ghost, if you will help me again, you may save my soul. In the courtyard, under a tree, I once buried 3 bags filled with copper, silver, and gold coins which I had stolen from some thieves. Why, that makes you a thief too, Esteban exclaimed. A robber of robbers! I am that, the ghost admitted sadly. Alas, I have no sooner hidden the coins than the thieves found me and killed me. Those thieves were devilish mean, cutting my body to pieces. They never did find the coins. You must dig them up. Give the copper coins to the church, the silver to the poor of the village, and keep the gold for yourself. Do this for me, and I can at last enter the kingdom of heaven. Esteban felt sorry for the ghost, so he followed him to the courtyard to one of the trees. This is the place, the ghost said. Dig. Not unless you help. The big fellow might be a ghost, Esteban thought, but he could handle a shovel as well as any man. So together they dug while the wind and rain beat against them, yet they found nothing. It is not here, the ghost wailed. Alas, I do not remember which tree it was. And he threw back his head and howled. Oh, I must find the money now. What hour is it? The ghost screeched. Esteban pulled out his pocket watch, 15 minutes before the stroke of 12. If we do not find the coins right away, I will be doomed to haunt this castle, the scene of my crooked deed forever, the ghost cried. St. Peter himself decreed that I should have exactly 50 years to undo my crime and win my way into heaven. Tonight at midnight my time will run out. He also commanded that whoever aided me must share my sorry lot. You too, my friend, will be doomed for eternity. I? Esteban looked at the ghost and wondered if the fateful words were true. Why did you not tell me sooner? Oh, for fear that you would not help me, the ghost explained in a wavering voice, although I am unable to return to the earth. But I can come on All Hallows' Eve. Without your aid, I could never have put myself together again. Now dig, he commanded as best he could. Oh, Esteban snorted. At last, I can see your dishonest ways for myself. I am angry enough to take a good swing at you, even though you are a ghost. Esteban raised his fists and stepped forward. Pray don't hit me, the ghost moaned, cringing. I might fly into pieces again. With an effort, Esteban regained his temper, but his heart was pounding. No amount of money is worth chancing a doomed soul, he muttered, thinking bitterly of his reward. Let us hurry and try another tree. By the time they had dug around the 3rd tree, the ghost howled so loudly Esteban felt a shiver creep up his spine. Time was fast running out. Oh! The ghost's eyes were growing wild with panic. Will you stop that awful noise? Esteban said sharply. It will be light soon, and we need to dig. We can use the light of the moon. Moon, the ghost cried. Now I remember. I buried the money by the tree at the edge of the garden pool. The moon was shining down on the water. In no time they had unearthed the 3 bags of gold coins. Do you promise me that you will do all that I told you? Asked the ghost. I will, said Esteban. You may be a rascal, but you have my word. In a flash, the ghost disappeared, leaving his clothes lying empty on the ground. When Esteban heard the faint tolling of a bell, he knew the ghost had entered heaven, and not a moment too soon, for the witching hour was at hand. Early the next morning, the villagers came to Grey Castle, expecting to discover yet another man sitting dead before the fireplace. Instead, they found Esteban whistling cheerfully as he loaded the bags of gold coins on his donkey's back. Are you alive? They asked, not believing what they saw. I am, Esteban laughed, alive as can be. The ghost is gone, and you will find his clothes in the courtyard. I shall go now and collect my reward from the castle's owner. With that, Esteban rode away from the shocked village people and soon collected his 1,000 gold relays from the grateful lord of the castle. He faithfully gave the copper coins to the church and the silver to the poor. With the relays and the bag of gold coins, Esteban lived happily for many years, still mending pots and pans from time to time. And he never saw another ghost again. The end.